Iguodala to Curry, back to Iguodala, up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James. Curry, one-on-one. Irving puts it up. It's good. Kyrie Irving from downtown. The three, steps back, crossover, puts up a three. Rebound James. Seconds. It's over. It's over. Cleveland is a city of champions once again. The Cavaliers are NBA champions.
Cleveland! This is for you!
What's going on, Cavs fans, and welcome to another edition of the Block, the Shot, the Stop, a Cleveland Cavaliers podcast. I'm Tim Daniel. He's Kevin Lynch. Skylar Webker is out this week, so we, being Kevin and I, are going to dive into the return of the 2025-2026 NBA schedule. And Kevin, my first question before we get into any of this, of course, is how excited are you for Rivals Week against our arch rivals, the Charlotte Hornets?
I didn't know Rivals Week was a thing until about 6 seconds ago. So incredibly excited.
Yeah. Apparently, when it's like the Lakers and the Celtics, the NBA are trying to bring more attention to this thing called Rivalry Week. And the Cavs game on Rivalry Week is at the Spectrum Center playing the Charlotte Hornets. And I'm trying to think, I was like, okay, Lonzo LaMelo, maybe that's your argument. Maybe you're like Evan Mobley's career game last year in Charlotte. I was like, there are 14 teams I could probably pick before I pick the Charlotte Hornets to be the Cavs rival.
But it's a good, and let's answer this quickly and get back on topic. But who do you think the Cavs' biggest rival is?
Of late, probably Boston, but I'm pretty sure now after the last postseason, it's probably back to the Indiana thing. I think Indiana.
One. I think to be the biggest rival, both sides have to say it's the biggest rival, and I agree with you. Boston, but Boston's not going to say Cleveland's their biggest rival, obviously.
Yeah. Is Chicago?
Yeah, maybe Chicago. I actually kind of like the Indiana call, but I don't know, just interesting.
Yeah, for sure. So, Kev, the first thing that jumps out when you look at the schedule is there are a lot of national TV games for our beloved Cleveland Cavaliers, which makes me happy. Here's the thing when you kind of deeper dive into it, and I don't know if you noticed this when you were looking at the dates and everything. So they have there's 10 ESPN games. 2 of them are home games. The other 8 are on the road. They have 6 matinee games this year, including New Year's Eve against the Suns, Sunday afternoon game versus the Pistons, a Saturday afternoon game versus the Minnesota Timberwolves. That's going to be kind of cool. Martin Luther King Day against the Thunder. I am beyond. That might be my favorite game of the season. So as we're talking now. And then the other thing that really kind of jumped out to me is 20 of the last 33 games are on the road.
Yeah, no, it was interesting. I didn't notice that until you kind of pointed it out. There is a lot of I don't know, discrepancies. It seems like the home games and the road games do come in bunches. Mm-hmm. It seems like the West Coast games come in bunches as well. But I mean, some of that's when you take a road trip, you're going to play a lot.
Sure.
Of
yeah, absolutely.
So kind of makes sense. So I thought the biggest things that jumped out to me, they obviously leaned into the Knicks and Cavs being the best 2 teams in the East this year to highlight them on opening night and on Christmas Day.
Both games in the Garden.
2 of their matchups be arguably the 2 biggest NBA days of the year, opening day and Christmas Day. I thought that was really interesting. We'll talk more about Christmas Day in a little bit. The other thing we were talking about right before we came on air, I could easily get stuck on this, so don't let me get stuck on it. Why don't the NBA play games on Saturdays? It's wild. The Cavs have 2 Saturday games the last 3 months of the season total. And as it is, they just I think they have six Saturday games over the 6-month season. I don't know. I don't get it. It's just Saturday is the best day to watch sports, to go to the games. I don't know. Is that something where the NBA is just making it hard on themselves?
Yes, especially after football season. Especially after,
it doesn't make sense. There's less Saturday games after football season ends.
Correct. I don't understand that logic at all. I know ESPN normally gets the Saturday games. I don't know if that's still the case with all the new broadcast partners. But maybe like do, if that's the case, ESPN could just do like the triple header. Look, we have the NBC, we have NBC back now. We have Peacock doing official their own standalone games now. There are plenty of reasons to do Saturday NBA games, and that needs to be a thing, and we need to make it happen. So yes, I 100% agree with you.
Yeah.
All right, so let's kind of go through quick things because obviously we're not going to list it all off. You guys can see online what it looks like, and like Kevin said, opening night against the Knicks at the Garden and the Nets on that Friday. First home game, Milwaukee. Then you've got the first Peacock game in NBA history on 27th at the Pistons and the Celtics. And then we get to our first Cup game against the Raptors. So, and then you've got that game. But the first big homestand, Kev, is after November 12th. They play back-to-back games in Miami against the Heat. Both November 10th, November 12th, but then November 13th, 15th, 17th, 19th, 21st, and 23rd, all home games. And you know what the best part about it is? Each of those games have a day off in between them. So back-to-backs, plenty of rest in that time frame because that's a lot of games and a lot of days. And get to sleep in Cleveland every single night. You're not going hotel to hotel during that time.
Yeah, I kind of big picturing from what you just said. The Cavs have a great opportunity to come out of the gate very strong, just like they did last year. I mean, I don't know if they're going to go 15-0 out of the gate, but their first, basically the games in October, November, roughly 16, 17 games. There is a lot of games against teams you would think would be non-playoff teams or, bottom half of the standings in the East. There are a lot more home games than away games. Kind of as you said, I think do some quick math. I think 10 of the 14 games in November are home games. So there's an opportunity. There's a very good opportunity for the Cavs to come out of the gate really strong, kind of establish themselves as one of, if not the best team in the Eastern Conference, and then just kind of hopefully ride the momentum from there.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's another really fun homestand in December that I really like, where it's a bunch of Western Conference teams come to them. The first week of December, Portland comes on the 3rd, the Spurs on the 5th. The Spurs and Warriors are back-to-back Friday, Saturday. That's going to be pretty fun.
Yeah, that we were speculating going to Cleveland for that. That's for that weekend. That's probably the best weekend of the year if you're just trying to get maximum value out of seeing Cavs games.
Yeah, for sure. Just trying to figure out the best way to do this. We're not putting together a meh show.
Let me throw a couple of things at you. Kind of like, we talked about Christmas Day. Awesome that the Cavs got Christmas Day. They are the first game, which I don't think is as big a deal because I think the NBA, at least,
I kind of love the first game, honestly.
Yeah, it'll be on in the background all day long. But I think them and the Knicks are the only two Eastern Conference teams that are playing on Christmas Day.
Everything you need to know.
Yeah, there are 8 teams, which I thought was funny. MLK Day, as you said, it's always a big day for the NBA. The fact that they have a matchup against Oklahoma City will be awesome. I think that's a good thing. And then the two things I think we kind of focus on, the NBA Cup and then the overall national games, as you were saying. We'll talk about the NBA Cup. So last year, that was one of the few disappointments about the Cavs regular season was their performance in the NBA Cup, not qualifying.
Friday
to
Hawks lost, man.
Yeah,
stuck with me.
Go to Vegas. They are kind of, as we said, really with the whole first 6 weeks of the schedule, they are set up. They couldn't be set up much better to make the tournaments of the NBA Cup. So there are 4 games which stretch basically from Halloween to the end of November are against the Raptors and the Wizards, arguably could be 2 of the worst teams in the Eastern Conference. The Pacers, who obviously had their incredible run last year, but without Halliburton, without Miles Turner, you kind of figure they're
paying the price for it,
taking a big step back. And then the Hawks, which the Hawks I think are going to be a really good, potentially top 4 seed in the East. But if that's your toughest matchup out of 4 games, and it's at home, I don't see, health concerns, something else maybe I'm not thinking of aside. There really is no reason the Cavs shouldn't, make some noise in the NBA Cup for the first time.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. They should for sure get to knockout rounds because
Yeah.
it's the schedule they have and who is in their group. I mean, last year's group, I thought the same thing, but they also had the Celtics there defending the NBA, coming off the defense of the NBA title. You can understand that. And they lost that Celtics game, which kind of put them behind the 8 ball, which led to the Hawks loss. Here, I don't think they have to worry too much about CJ McCollum coming in, dropping 45 for the Wizards and taking them out on their home court. I think they're going to be okay there. The Toronto Raptors thing, Evan Mobley seems to really love playing the Raptors. I think he still kind of holds a vendetta, has a chip on his shoulder that Scotty Barnes got Rookie of the Year over him. So he seems to really arise for that matchup. So I think that's going to kind of play a part there as well. Obviously, the Pacers matchup, even though they are beaten down, they're not the Pacers team that just knocked them out in May. They still obviously are probably going to have that in the back of their minds. And obviously, Cavs fans are going to care a lot about that matchup because even if it is not the same Pacers team, that is still the same blue and gold over there, same coach, Aaron Nesmith, those guys are still there. And then, like you said, the Hawks, who I agree with you. I think if right now, if I had to pick a top 4 in the East, it's Cleveland, New York, Atlanta, Orlando. And I would say that, yeah, I think the Hawks are going to be really, really good. And I think the Hawks have a really good chance at home court advantage. But like I said, toughest game, last of the round robin games in your arena. I feel really good about the Cavs in that situation.
Yeah, I do as well. And again, this first 6 weeks, the schedule being so favorable, you would hope the Cavs, out of the gate kind of establish themselves at the top of the Eastern Conference rankings. If they're doing that, they're probably also having some success in the NBA Cup. So kind of hope for that those go hand in hand. The other thing I wanted to bring up, and then anything you want to add on, is kind of the amount of national games that they have.
Mm-hmm.
You, as you said, they're towards the top. They're actually 9th. They have the 9th most national TV games. I'm going to read off the top 8 quickly, and then we can go through if we think this is fair, the right spot. They should be higher, they should be lower. But the 8 teams in front of them, the first 4 are tied with 34 national games: Lakers, Thunder, Warriors, Knicks. And
Makes
then
sense.
5 through 8, Timberwolves, Rockets, Nuggets, Celtics, and then the Cavs at 9th. So the only Eastern Conference teams ahead of them are the Knicks, and the Celtics have 1 more national game than them. And then, like I said, the other teams we have. So, and I remind people, because people look to get slighted, right? Like fans, everything.
Oh yeah.
The purpose of putting a team on national TV is not to put the best team in the NBA. It's a team that will draw the most eyeballs. And, the New York Knicks are going to draw as many eyeballs as almost anybody in the NBA. And as long as LeBron and Steph are relevant, they're going to draw the most eyes in the NBA. So, you can be upset or whatever. And then the Thunder are the defending champion. You can't argue the defending champion. So I agree with you. The top 4 makes total sense to me. If you want to talk about the next 4 that are above them, T.O.'s Rockets. Rockets, they just got KD. That's going to be a draw. I kind of get it.
Mm-hmm.
Nuggets have the best player in the league. Only thing I would argue, I could see the Cavs sliding as far up as 7th and maybe having a couple more games and jumping ahead of the T-Wolves or the Celtics. Like I could definitely see that. But really, if you asked me where they would be on this list, I probably would have guessed somewhere around that 8-9 range. And it basically shows that they are thought of as one of the best teams in the NBA that happens to be in one of the, mid to smaller markets.
Yeah, absolutely. And the one cool thing about it is all 3 Knicks games are nationally televised games. So that's pretty cool. Obviously the first 2, the one in the Garden for opening night, Christmas, and then the game in February at Cleveland is going to be an NBC Peacock game on Tuesday night. So that's going to be cool. I'm really bummed. I don't know what they're like. I don't necessarily know if there's a science to it, if it's just kind of like filling games in. But I was really hoping the Knicks would be one of those teams that the Cavs played 4 times this year in the East. There's so obviously you play your division 4 times, you play every team in the West twice, and then there's a couple other teams here and there in your conference you'll play 4 times. But the Knicks Cavs draws just have to be 3 times this year. I thought for sure with how, we just kind of talked about it. There's only 2 Eastern Conference teams playing on Christmas and they're playing each other, being those 2 teams. I thought for sure the NBA would find a way to have 4 games between those 2 teams.
Yeah, I thought so too. I actually was hoping you would say, because I don't know who the random teams are that they get the 4 times, because it's like an extra 3 or 4 teams that you have to you get that extra game against just to like balance out the schedule.
I think one of them is Brooklyn.
That looks right.
Yeah, Miami is one because they play Miami in back-to-backs like twice. So they play them in Miami in November, and then in March at the end of the year they play them back-to-back at home.
Got it. Yeah, no, it's if there's anything I was surprised by the schedule, that I agree with you. I thought as much as they prioritize those Knicks and Cavs matchups and national games and kind of the biggest nights of the year, you would have thought they would have kind of maybe skewed it if they could have. Maybe there's a reason they couldn't have. But yeah, I mean, I think where they are in the national games is about right. It's a mess trying to watch everything everywhere nowadays.
Yes,
shout out to our friends at Playback. They had a great tweet that like it showed the breakdown of how many Cavs games are on the NBA ticket versus Peacock, ESPN, all this stuff, and then they quote tweeted it and said like Mondays the land, Tuesdays the land, Wednesdays, because you can watch every game no matter what it's streaming on there. So I thought that was cool. But yeah, nowadays, and it's the same story with all sports, it's just such a pain trying to figure out where you can watch things night to night. But yeah, so the only I lied. I had one more thing about the schedule, and that was the thing you're always going to look at if you're a Cavs fan. When does LeBron come to town?
ESPN game.
It is an ESPN game. I'm bummed it's a weeknight. I would have liked it to be a more featured game, weekend or something. Again, so much of this has to do with, which networks have the rights to which games on, certain nights of the week and everything. And yeah, so the Lakers come to Cleveland January 28th. It's a Wednesday night national TV game, which I mean is always fun to see. And yeah, we don't know, we're at the point now where you're going year to year. Could this be the last time? So I think probably like a lot of Cleveland fans, after I looked at the first, main things, that was one thing. I was like, wait, when do Lakers come to town?
So you're saying, is this one of the last time? Is this the last time he's playing against the Cavaliers at Rocket Arena? Huh?
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
I'm more concerned with all I care about. I just want the Cavs to get off to a strong start. Everybody knows that there should be one of the best couple teams in the East this year. That everybody knows that a lot of the season is going to be determined by what happens in the playoffs. So I just like anything, you want to get out to a good start. I want to see them get out to a really good start. It's like 10-2, 12-2 start to the season.
Yeah.
And just kind of roll from there.
Yeah, I do too. Obviously not just the fact of being a fan, just knowing how talented they are. And that's even, we don't know how long they're going to be without Garland, depending what you look at or who you talk to. It's a different answer every time. So I do believe that this team is going to be really good again, and I have no doubts about it. I was trying to find, I don't know if FanDuel's put it up quite yet, but I was trying to find win totals, and they're not regular season wins.
I think they're 55. Is that right?
Yep. 55.5 is the line.
Yeah.
I feel like for the sake that they play in the Eastern Conference, and I know it's asking a lot of wins.
That's a lot of wins.
Yeah. I still feel like they're right around there. Being safe, I'd probably say 53, 54. But would it shock me if they won like 58, 59 games? Not at all.
If I had to choose, if I was forced to choose, I'd go over. But I think that number is right on the number, and I'd probably just stay away.
Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah, you're probably right.
I have one more scheduling question for you before we get out of here. So the NBA Cup is happening between December 9th and December 16th. When is the right time for the NBA Cup to happen? Should it happen in mid-December like that? Is there another point in the schedule? Like, what are your thoughts? Like, if you're in charge of the NBA schedule and the NBA Cup, when is the best time to work it in the schedule?
Whenever the NFL season's done. Anytime in that like short time between the end of the NFL season and maybe the All-Star break, I'm going to look at it in that time frame. I don't have an exact date for you by any means, but I feel like that early in the year, a lot of people are still kind of like, a lot of those games are going against Thursday Night Football, or, even like, we love the NBA, But like, there's a lot of morons who still would rather watch action college football on a Tuesday night than a Cavaliers Spurs game or something like that. I disagree with that. But I feel like where it's at in the year, I don't feel like it makes a lot of sense. Like, I would even be more willing to like have the conversation around Christmas time.
Yeah, that's kind of my thought, because like some people say how there's a 2-week break between the division championships and the Super Bowl, have it in that week between where there's nothing going on. And I don't think that's a bad idea, but that's also like right around the All-Star break. You're halfway into the season. Like, I do know that I think it's very obvious they want to do this early in the season to try and pull eyeballs to the NBA earlier in the season. It's the NBA's, biggest challenge is how do they get people to watch the first couple months of the year. Most people seem to tune in after the new year. But that was kind of my thought. Like, what if you do it kind of over the holidays and you work that Christmas slate into it? Maybe that's like the last day of the round robin, and then you do it like over that New Year's period before, like, I don't know, I guess maybe then you risk going up against some of the bigger college football bowl games. But yeah, man, I don't know. Or you do it, instead of doing it over a straight 8-day period, you break it up to where it's like, Monday through Thursday one week, then Monday through Thursday the next, after regular season football is over or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think I care enough to make a big argument about it, but to accomplish what the NBA is trying to accomplish with it, and that's, like I said, get more competitive early in the year, get like more people tuned in. I don't know. Or is it something that you do? That's the first 2-3 weeks of the season is the NBA Cup. And then
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
You do that. The round robins goes over the first 3 weeks of the season. Then the tournament goes over Thanksgiving.
See, now we're cooking with gas.
Yeah.
Now you're thinking.
Yeah.
I like this.
So I mean, I like that. I mean, on Thanksgiving, obviously you go up against some NBAs, but you could manipulate the schedule to go, around that week. I don't know. I think putting anything in, a week before Christmas, people are distracted, like, at that time, even if it's like, forget competing against football and everything. It's just like, that's not a time of the year I watch a ton of TV. I got a lot going on.
Right. Like we all do.
Right.
One last thing to the West Coast road trip. So we know when we plan ahead for coffee and calves, is going to be the first week of February. But here's the thing that's really funny about it. And I don't know, this is probably just coincidental, but you mentioned that Laker game, the 28th in Cleveland. Right after that, they start their West Coast road trip. They go to Phoenix 2 days later, play that Friday.
Yeah.
Then Portland, then the Clippers, then the Kings, then the Nuggets. They come home for the Wizards in the All-Star break. And then they have another mini one in March, April, where they go to Utah, LA to play the Lakers. And then they play Golden State on the April 2nd.
Nights.
Yeah. Here's my other thing. And this is just logistically thinking here. And like, I understand that these teams aren't necessarily pinching pennies unless you're the Chicago Bulls. But why did they do the schedule like this? Why don't they just play the Lakers and the Clippers back to back like most teams do? Like, why? What happened here?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I agree. Maybe there's some, maybe the Staples Center isn't like available. Maybe they, I don't know, have a Taylor Swift concert going on or something.
If anyone stops time, it's Taylor Swift.
Yeah. But I mean, they play 3 games in a week, all on the Pacific Ocean. So I don't know. It's close enough for me.
Yeah, for sure. All right. With that being said, I think we can go ahead and wrap up the big picture here. I know we got a couple things coming up before we got the season, but Kev, we're officially now 68 days away.
68 days, which means about 38 more days of having to create content.
Yep, that's right. So
instead of having it created for us.
Thank you all so much for tuning in tonight. As always, we definitely appreciate it. On behalf of Kevin Lynch and Skylar Webker, I am Tim Daniel. Hope you are also getting as thrilled for the season as we are. We cannot wait to be back doing our normal thing. And of course,
Go Cavs.